Hello, and welcome to Focus on Fantasy Romance, episode number 51, a podcast where we discuss books, genre, industry, and our geeky lives. I'm your host, Elle.
I'm A.R.D. Clark.
I'm Paulina Woods.
I'm Electra.
And today we have with us fantasy romance author Michelle Rabe.
Hello.
Say hi. Hi. So, why don't you give us a little bit of an introduction before we start?
Okay, well, obviously my name's Michelle Rabe. Got to start with that, right? No? Maybe not. I kind of do everything and anything. I'm from California. I was born and raised there, did 10 years in Hollywood, finally decided I didn't like it, moved up north, then moved out to Arizona. Now I'm out here with my unhelpful author cat somewhere around here. He might show up at some point in time. I started writing on a film set because I was bored. And this was before the age of, ebooks and everything. So I couldn't just go and buy a new book to read. So I decided to start writing one. And it kind of went from there.
What were you doing in Hollywood?
I was trying to be a star, the actress thing. But I actually spent most of my time doing extra work and stand-in work.
So if we pay close attention to some stuff that came out a few years ago, we'd be able to hey, we know that person in the background.
Oh, let's see. If you pay attention to the pilot episode of the TV show Scrubs, about 7 minutes in, you will see me. You might also see me on a couple of episodes of The X-Files, Frasier. You probably won't see me on the movie Volcano, but I did that. The first, the Tom Hanks movie, That Thing You Do, and that was really fun because I actually got to meet Tom, talk with him for a couple of seconds. That was fun.
Yeah, so you said you started writing on the set to alleviate boredom. How did you make the transition from writing as a hobby to, I want to publish something and get it out there?
It was an evolution. I think every writer probably says that at some point in time that, it just kind of evolved from something I did for fun and to alleviate boredom to, okay, I think I have a story that other people might want to read. My very first book, which is not romance, Cast in Blood, actually took me about 10 years to get it to the point where I thought, okay, this is what I want to publish. And I did actually try going the traditional route for a while, but after several rejections, I said, you know what, I'm just going to go it on my own, because at that point in time, the indie industry was
Okay. I had a little bit of a internet hiccup, so I actually didn't hear the end of that. But you said you decided to go with the indie route?
I decided to go indie just because the traditional publishing, I got so sick of rejection in Hollywood and, just didn't want to do more rounds of it with traditional. And at the time, indie was taking off, so it was a good way to go.
Okay, and you said your first book was not romance. What genre was it?
It's urban fantasy paranormal, more focused on the story there's romance in it, but it's not the focus of the book. It's more, that's it.
Okay. So how did you get to your Dragon's Heart series then, if you were writing just paranormal?
That actually came about because I try and write I write a full book and then I take a break before I start doing the editing. And one of the things I try to do while I'm taking those breaks is do something different. So I started writing Dragon's Heart as a short story that I was just going to publish for fun, to friends and fans. So, that kind of thing. But the story ended up being a lot bigger than I thought it was. So it kind of got out of control. And
Was it one of those, the characters are talking to me, they won't shut up, I've got to get them on the paper before they drive me crazy?
Definitely. And the characters had a lot more to say than I originally thought they did. And the story is a heck of a lot different than I originally thought it was. So yeah, I'm definitely not a planner. So it kind of just, everything happens as it goes.
That actually leads into my first question.
Woo-hoo.
So I was going to ask, for readers out there who may or may not know all the terminology that we authors use, everybody has a process. And it's pretty much every creative, person has a process. So tell us about your process. What do you have to have when you sit down?
My process usually starts. What do I have to have when I sit down to write? It depends. It sounds crazy, but it depends. Sometimes I'm writing and my roommate's watching football or something that I can ignore. So I'm focused on what I'm doing. I just need to be able to focus. So it changes.
In terms of process, like what steps are you taking as you're going through?
My first step is usually just starting with a question. So I have a question that is boggling in my mind and characters that are talking about it. And we go along and I just have to start writing about it. So I write completely out of order. Whatever scene comes to me, when it comes to me, I write it. And then at some point in time, I obviously have to sit down and go, okay, look at everything I've got and kind of put it together like a puzzle and then fill in the gaps that I've got. And then I go through and I read it and send it to beta readers. And then it goes to my editor.
Yeah, that makes my chest hurt. You're like an uber pantser. Like you're even more of a pantser than I am, which is shocking because literally I am pretty pantsless most of the time. But that's like even a higher level of, like you're buck naked out there. Oh yeah.
Nope. I'm just going along as it goes.
Oh, that hurts me a little bit in the chest area. So when we're talking about, your writing, do you start with world building or do you start with characters?
Everything comes down to characters and, a focus question. So like for Dragon's Heart, the focus question that I started with was, what if Prince Charming fell in love with the woman that was sworn to protect him? So that kind of it gives me a through line to follow so that as I am writing all these weird disparate scenes, I have a little bit of a roadmap. So it's a guideline and I go from there. So
talk to us about post rough draft. Do you have certain steps you follow to get ready to put it out there? Are you at 1, 2, 3, content, line, proofreading? How do you get it ready for the viewing audience?
Getting it ready. So once I've done the rough draft, it goes off to my beta readers, which I have a very small circle because I trust their feedback. I've had too many people give me really horrible feedback in my life. So I'm like, I trust you guys. You can have it. I'm trying to widen that circle a little bit more just to get more viewpoints, but it's a process. So they usually give me all their notes and everything, and then I go through them one by one. And once I've gotten all their notes in, I give it another read, and I'm looking for typos. I'm looking for things that just aren't quite jiving, whatever. And then it goes to my editor, and she does a really fabulous job. I love her. She's awesome. She usually goes through it about 2, sometimes 3 times, depending on how tight I've managed to get it once we get it in. But, she's good with just about everything. And, usually by the time we've gotten to her, the content's really nice and smooth, but she has made some suggestions that's like, this doesn't quite make sense. So can you make it a little easier? So that's the process.
Paulina, question time.
Sorry, I can't see the chat, so you guys kind of have to. I'm on my phone.
See the top of your head.
Huh?
I can see the top of your head.
Is that better? I can stretch my neck.
That is better. That's okay. I can talk to your hair.
Yeah, if I go down, though, I have all the boobs showing. It's weird. And they're just like, wow, your boobs are huge.
Cleavage.
No, dear, it's not cleavage. Look, it's boob.
Cleavage.
Oh, okay. You want to fight about this?
Uh-oh.
We don't need to make this rated R.
So I was listening to you say I call it Frankenstein because I do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever lose certain scenes and get mad at yourself?
Yes.
Like, what do you do?
Sometimes my beta readers will definitely kill scenes, and one of my beta readers, the first read through on Dragon's Heart, because it was huge. It was like 112,000 words. So that's like the biggest one that biggest thing I'd ever written. She actually said, "You need to end the book here." And I looked at that and I'm like, but there's still like 30,000 words left. She's like, nope, it ends here.
All the rest is fluff.
And she was right. And she was totally right. So there was like 30,000 words of stuff that's just hanging out there that eventually did get used in a book, but it just wasn't the right time for it yet. So I tend to take those scenes that either I or my beta readers cut, and I put them in a file, Broken Dreams or something along that line. It hangs out and they stay there, and sometimes they'll end up in a later book. Sometimes they just hang out and go to the graveyard of lost scenes.
Yeah, unfortunately that happens. So I was looking at your cover. I seen your books, flash through Facebook because that happens. Mm-hmm. Where do you get your covers? They're beautiful.
Okay, my dragon covers, I have an artist named Tamara Thrift, who I actually found on Facebook. So every time there's a new book coming out with that one, I contact her usually about the time I'm done with the rough draft. And I say, okay, we need another cover. And she does amazing work. I love her to death. So she creates the artwork, and then she sends it back to me, and I make it look not with the.
Hold on, I think your connection cut out for a second. Uh-oh.
She looks a little frozen.
Yeah, we might have lost her.
Uh-oh.
Let's all start singing Let It Go. Maybe she'll come back.
You first, Amy.
You don't want me to sing.
Let it go, let it go.
Oh, good.
No
idea.
You have no idea how much I love to sing. I'm awful at it, but
Connection.
There she is, yay.
Am I back?
She's come back.
Yes.
Am I back? Am I back?
You're back.
Okay, how much of that did you miss? Where did I fall off?
You said that right at the part where you get back your first edits and then she sends it back to you.
Yeah, she sends it back to me. Generally, I'm happy with what she does, because she's an awesome artist. And once we have, the cover finalized, I throw text on it and away it goes, and we're good to go.
So is she a cover artist, or is she more of a graphic designer?
She's an artist. She does just the artwork. The text is all me. So if the text looks horrible, it's my fault.
No, that's amazing. I love the cover. I was looking at them and like, oh my God, if I can get someone to draw my covers, and I'm like, too lazy. But I really do. I do like them.
Thank you.
Those are all the questions I had. Electra?
Okay.
Hi.
Hello.
So I'm just kind of wondering, is there, with being kind of a panther, or a naked panther as Amy's calling it, what is your one struggle that keeps you from moving forward, or that one thing as a panther that's holding you, that usually holds you back in your stories?
The fact that sometimes I go into periods where I'm not writing at all. Like literally for the past month, I've written maybe 300 words. So if the story is not working, it's kind of hard to know when you have everything in so many different places, whether or not the story is actually working. So usually what I do, I go ahead and at that point in time, I put it all together and I look at it as a whole rather than just each individual scene. Unfortunately, that's happening right now at the beginning of the book. So I have to figure out what I need to figure Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, actually, it kind of does. Which leads into my next question is how do you get yourself, out of that predicament, or do you have an accountability partner or somebody that kind of helps you and encourages you and inspires you and kind of gets you back on that track?
I actually have two of them. They're both authors, indie authors as well. I call them my dragon mamas. So yeah, they're good at kicking my butt. They're like, where's the next book? They also happen to be two of my beta readers. So they're like, where's the next book? Where's the next book? We need the next book. So yeah, they tend to kick my butt. But I hate to say it, I'm one of those weird, fickle, artsy fartsy kind of people. If it's not going to happen, I'm not going to force it, because I feel like the writing isn't as good if you force it.
I think Amy can attest to that, because she was working on Shadowbound, and she's like, something's wrong with this, but I'm going to keep writing it. And she's threw out, what, total 50,000 words? Yeah, 140,000 drafts, and then the next 10,000, and then she figured out what was wrong. She needed more conflict. But yeah, no, I think we can understand. Electra, did you have any more questions?
Sorry, guys, kids.
Yeah, no, we understand.
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, so following our tradition of a giveaway, Michelle has agreed to give away her first novel, which is Dragon's Heart. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the book?
Oh, well, as I mentioned, the premise behind the book is what would happen if Prince Charming fell in love with the woman that was sworn to protect him. Wow. So basically, it is a full-on fantasy novel. It's got romance in it. If you're looking for a lot of hot, steamy sex, don't pick up my book. I admit it's very tame as far as romance go. I have too much fun writing these characters. They literally just had way more to say than I expected. So give it a shot.
If you want a kick-ass heroine, she can handle herself, which I really liked.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to win a copy of Dragon's Heart, all you have to do is leave a comment on our blog. So go to focusonfantasyromance.wordpress.com, find episode number 51, and ask Michelle a question. That will enter you into a giveaway. Yeah, enter you into a giveaway for a chance to win one ebook copy. We'll keep it open for 30 days. So about November 27, we will close it. So Michelle, where can we find you online?
You can find me on Facebook, author MichelleRabe.com or Michelle Rabe. Bleh. You can find me on Twitter at Mish Rabe, MICHRABE, or you can also find my website, which is MichelleRabe.com.
Okay, and I will have links in the comments.
Yeah, and you can order books from my website. I send them all signed.
You still have hardbacks available?
I do still have hardbacks available of the first two Dragon's Heart books, or Dragon Fae Saga. Blech, that's the name of the series. So I do still have a couple of Dragon's Heart, a few more of Dragon's Soul, and then I also have pre-orders available for Dragon's Blood, which is the third book.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. If you like the podcast, please like, comment, and share. This has been episode number 51. Good night.